Hello, you're listening to Everyday Encouragement, Timeless Truths for Today, a weekly podcast designed to bring you snippets of encouragement to help you as you go about your day. I'm Jenny Guy, your host. Today, we're continuing the series titled A Balancing Act by looking at the role the will plays in how we live our lives. Our goal is to understand how all the three parts of our soul, our mind, our will, and our emotions work together to help our souls prosper, as the Apostle John desires in his prayer for us. Let's get started. Have you ever heard someone described as being strong-willed or, to the contrary, weak-willed? I'm asking because we're still continuing the series titled A Balancing Act. This series was prompted by the Apostle John's prayer that we prosper in all things and be in health, even as our soul prospers. We're looking at the balanced interaction among the components of our soul. These components are our mind, our will, and our emotions. This week, we're looking at how our wills contribute to the overall well-being of our souls. I like the Macmillan Online Dictionary's definition of the will. It says the will is someone's determination to do what is necessary to achieve what they want. So, according to this definition, a strong-willed person has more than enough determination, maybe even too much, whereas a weak-willed person doesn't have enough determination. But before we can consider what is too much or too little determination, the concept of choice, of decision-making, has to be looked at, for choosing lies at the heart of understanding the will's place and function in our lives. Choosing always involves answering questions like, do I do this or not? Do I pick this or that? For the will to come into play, some kind of choice or decision has to be made first. Please indulge me in considering this simple example of what choice and the will look like in action. The example is far from perfect, but I hope it will help illustrate what I'm trying to say. It's time for our vacation, and we have to decide where to go. Think of the will as the car that takes us to the destination that we ultimately choose. It's not important to the car if our destination is reasonable in terms of cost. The car doesn't care if the destination is suited to our temperament, and it certainly doesn't matter to the car if others will be affected by our decision. The car's only function is to get us to where we want to go. As the car's driver, it is our responsibility to consider things like cost and impact on others and preference for location when we are choosing our destination. But now the choice has been made and it's time to go. So we pack the car, get out the maps, and leave. Let's say that we really prefer the beach, but for some reason, maybe peer or family pressure, we've chosen to spend our vacation on the ski slopes of Vail, Colorado. Our car doesn't care whether we'll enjoy being in cold weather for 2 weeks. Our car also doesn't think about whether this will be a vacation that we'll remember fondly or with loathing. Halfway to Vail, we decide that we just can't stand the idea of spending our hard-earned vacation time in the snow rather than on the beach. So we turn around and our car carries us to our preferred destination of Myrtle Beach, South Carolina. In either situation, our car just takes us to where we've chosen, following whatever road or highway it has to in order to get us to our destination, be it Vail or Myrtle Beach. The point of my illustration is to show that there are two components to any choice: the decision itself and the determination or will to follow through or not on that decision. We make a decision, we choose, and it is our will that is the vehicle which helps us to obtain the results of our decision. I acknowledge that my example isn't perfect because the will isn't an inanimate, passive object like a car. It's part of us. For if our will, our determination to do what is necessary, is strong enough, then if we're not careful, our will can take over and become the driver instead of the car. On the other hand, if our will isn't strong enough, if we aren't determined enough to do what is necessary, then we won't get whatever it is that we're desiring. To continue the car example, in this instance, our car has mechanical failure and it doesn't work. The book of Deuteronomy in the Old Testament records a very clear example of the interaction between choice and the will. Here's the incident. Moses, the leader of the Israelites, is about to go away to die. But before he leaves, he encourages the Israelites to remember all they have learned about God during their desert journey, and he gives them one last set of instructions. His farewell speech is quite blunt and leaves no room for misunderstanding. At the heart of his speech is the opportunity for them to make a choice that will affect their futures in the promised land. In the 30th chapter and the 19th and 20th verses in the New Living Translation, Moses says, "Today I have given you the choice between life and death, between blessings and curses. Now I call on heaven and earth to witness the choice you make. Oh, that you would choose life, so that you and your descendants might live. You can make this choice by loving the Lord your God, obeying Him, and committing yourself firmly to Him. This is the key to your life." History records the choices the Israelites made. On that particular day, they chose to follow Moses' advice, and their wills supported their decision by helping them to obey God. The years go by. The Israelites' will to obey weakens until the point is reached where they no longer follow the Lord. After some time spent living with the consequences of their disobedience, the Israelites choose to return to God and His ways. Once again, their will, their determination to obey, keeps them faithful, but only for a while. Because we have the advantage of looking at the Israelites' choices through history's lens, we can see the times where they decided to follow God, as well as the times where their wills failed to help them live out those decisions. What does that have to do with us? Simply this. As we think about what it means to have our souls prosper, we should always be mindful of the interaction between what we choose and our determination to follow through on those choices. We may choose life, as Moses asks us to do, but it is our will, our determination to do what is necessary, that will help us obtain the blessings that come from following and obeying God. We should be encouraged because John's prayer is within our reach. We can prosper in all things and be in health, and our souls can prosper too. I hope you heard something today that has encouraged you and possibly given you something new to think about that will motivate or inspire you. If you would like a PDF copy of the show notes for this episode of Everyday Encouragement, Timeless Truths for Today, visit my website at jguypublisher.com. New episodes are published each week on Wednesday. I hope you'll join me for another installment of Everyday Encouragement, Timeless Truths for Today. Well, that's it for now. Until next time, be encouraged.